Well, hi, Mike. Good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you again as well.
So, you were the one who recruited me for my very first LSM in 1992, but you attended the very first LSM in
82.
1982, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think that that was only 10 years before I first attended. But I'm wondering what was that first year of LSM like for you? First and only, right?
Right. It was the first and only. I didn't go until the summer between my junior and senior year in high school. So that was the first, and actually, that was the one and only music camp I ever attended. So
Oh, wow.
I didn't have a whole lot to, a whole lot to compare it to. I mean, I'd been to church camps and stuff like that, but other than that, that was the only music camp that I had been to. And it was quite the adventure for me, quite honestly. My parents had left for a 2 week vacation the week before I was supposed to leave, and I actually drove myself from my home all the way to Northfield, Minnesota, and that in itself was
Wow.
also an adventure.
Wow, you flew solo all the way there.
The ensembles were very good, and but I played in my high school ensembles were also very good. So that part wasn't such you know a big divide between what I had known before. Um, the things when I look back on it, I had no idea the level of of teachers that we had until later. I really didn't.
Yeah, who were some of those people?
Well, one of the band directors was Fred Fennell,
Oh,
and
wow.
he was our band director for 2 weeks. Weston Noble did the first week, and then Fred and Eileen did the second week. But then Fred Fennell did the last 2 weeks of the camp.
Wow.
So, and when you're that age, you don't know,
Yeah.
you know. And then then you go home and you see his name on music, and you're going, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Um, the choir director, it was Dale Warland was
Well,
the
Dale
choir director.
Orland. Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
And again, while I was there, I had no idea. That was really very interesting because we did a lot of we did some contemporary music. I was in the smaller choir group, and I remember standing in the choir room. There were no chairs. The whole entire rehearsal was done standing up, and we were about as far apart as we could be from each other the entire time.
Wow.
Um, it was an amazing experience. So yeah, and
Yeah.
then there was the whole. Um, I knew that since it was Lutheran summer music that there would be a spiritual side to it. But we had morning devotions and devotions after lunch, and then evening vespers, and that was every single day.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
You
um,
guys are like a monastery.
well, it kind of looked like that when you're north of it. But, but yeah, it was, and it wasn't bothersome or anything. Um,
Yeah.
so the other thing was that there was this camaraderie between the students and the faculty. I
Yeah.
mean, we ate together, we played together. I can remember doing a volleyball game one night, and it was the camp staff against the students, and
Wow.
so there was that camaraderie between the students and staff that was also very good too.
Yeah. That's remarkable because, being involved in LSM now, I've learned the sort of three pillars, and that's music, faith, and community. And you're naming all three of them right now from your very first summer at LSM.
Yeah, I don't know that that was necessarily as defined when I was there, but
Yeah. My first summer was just 10 years later. And like you, my family was also on vacation in Colorado, where I was with them. But then they put me in the vehicle of a couple. Well, they weren't perfect strangers. They were people they had gotten to know during the week at the same resort. Um, but they were going to the airport in Denver, and so I rode with them, and I flew all by myself. First time I'd ever flown by myself from Denver to Minneapolis to get picked up by someone I'd never seen to go to a camp where I did not know a soul. Um,
right.
but you know, my crazy middle school band director encouraged my parents to have me go. So that was you. So that was a, but that was a great thing. I mean, I think within like a day, it felt like, wow, I've really found my tribe. Um, you know, musically for sure, it was definitely a step up from what I had experienced. Um, and you know, the faith aspect was very much the same too. It was my first experience of sort of the rich musical heritage of the Lutheran Church, which I really knew very little about, other than I thought all they ever sang was Bach. Um, we did sing a lot of Bach, but you know, there was a lot of other treasures too. Um, and our band director was Fred and Eileen.
Yeah. You were taking private lessons from me, I think.
I think so.
Uh,
Yeah, I was
you were at
working
least
on
taking
like
them
a,
at my house anyway.
it was like a
Um,
solo eighth grade solo competition. I think you were getting me ready for.
okay. Okay. Anyway, so you would come to the house and we were talking, and I'm thinking it was your mother who originally asked about music camps. And, we have a really good music camp that's not too far away from where you were growing up. But it was a week-long thing, and more of your traditional music camp. And but I just kind of talked about my music camp and my music camp experience, and I let them know that it's a 4-week commitment, which is that sometimes is a hard pill to swallow for some families, but it didn't seem to um, didn't seem to matter to your parents, so that was a good thing. And so I think we just got on. This was probably before you got online, but somehow we got some materials for you, or I showed you some of the stuff that I had done when I was there.
Okay.
But that's how we made the connection.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember the whole 4 week commitment being an issue at all either. Um, I think I just knew and trusted. Oh, great! I get to make music for 4 weeks. You know.
Yeah,
But but you know, looking back, I mean, obviously the instrumental experience is great for me. But you know, really, probably the biggest influence has been the faith aspect. And again, it's just the culture of singing that is so much a part of LSM. Everybody sings, certainly as part of worship. Um, and you know, that has seemed to have had a longer lasting influence on me. You know, to the point where I'm a Lutheran pastor who loves to sing and chant the liturgy. So, you know,
I look at LSM as probably the defining moment where I decide that I'm going to teach music, and I wanted to be a part of that, and which it, it, you know, my parents did not come from that reality at
yeah,
all. And so I can remember sitting down and trying to explain to my dad that I was going to go to college and study music. And so that was something else. Neither of my parents, my mother went to nurses training, but she didn't go to college. So,
mm, yeah, yeah. No, I remember my parents being very supportive of my music making and were fine with me majoring in music in college, but they gave me a lot of freedom, but I think they also kind of sensed I was probably headed towards something a little different. You know, probably something more towards, well, pastoral ministry, which is what a lot of LSM students have ended up doing too.
right,
Um,
right.
but mostly it was just finding a spiritual community that I felt like I had a lot more in common with than the church I had grown up in, and that just continued on into college and
Right. Well, there's a lot of parallels between the Lutheran community and the covenant community too. So,
yeah, yeah, there are some, yeah.